In this video, I'm going to talk about the games that I played this year in 2017. It's not going to be a best of list or a worst of list or anything like that. I'm just going to talk about what I played and what I thought. I think 2017 was a pretty decent year. Not a total catastrophe like some people will make it out to be. And nothing too revolutionary either. I didn't play anything on the Switch this year. Couldn't really justify buying one with all the other games I had to play on other systems. So Breath of the Wild won't be on here. No Mario. Nothing like that. I played Breath of the Wild for about 20 minutes in my local Best Buy. I think it's pretty awesome, so I'll have to pick that game up and a Nintendo Switch at some point. You won't see any Cupheads or PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds or any indie games really at all on this list because, you know, they just didn't appeal to me. Not that there's anything wrong with them, just not for me, and again, you know, I can't get to everything. So let's start things off with the absolute worst game of 2017, in my opinion, and I already reviewed this one. That would be Call of Duty World War II. It is just an egregious mess, really. There was some potential with the campaign to be interesting, but it was basically all squandered. You basically just end up doing QTEs and long scripted sequences. Not a lot of interesting gameplay at all. Basically, it's a modern Call of Duty game with World War II slapped on top. And you basically get the worst of both worlds. When the game launched, the multiplayer and the zombies were completely unplayable for me, other than just a few matches that actually worked. That's probably all fixed now, but I wouldn't know. I traded the game in, got rid of it, and I'm not interested anymore anyways, at all. I don't really want to buy loot boxes trying to get DLC guns, which are, of course, in the game. We all knew they would be. Speaking of loot boxes, let's talk about the game that wins my probably objectively as bad as Call of Duty World War II, but I somehow managed to enjoy this game quite a bit award, and that goes to Destiny 2. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know that the Eververse is awful, people hate it, having to pay money for shaders, not getting enough shaders in your bright engrams to actually color every piece of armor or weapon that you have is irritating, I get it, but to me, it makes no difference personally. I don't care about how my character looks. I think that all of the weapon ornaments, all of the fancy armor, all of the shaders that come in these bright engrams look stupid anyways. I don't really care for the visual style of the weapons, the armor, the spaceships in this game. What it comes down to for me is the gameplay, and I find it pretty fun. The campaign was not great. The story made no sense, of course. This didn't bother me too much as I didn't play the first Destiny, so I couldn't be disappointed with that one, and then extra disappointed with Destiny 2. While the story, you know, they tried, there was some decent cutscene work. The narrative was pretty weak, but every mission that I played in the campaign, I enjoyed a lot. While people may think the endgame content isn't all there, there isn't as much as there should be, I can totally see that too. But for me, it just works out. I have a couple friends that I play with, say 2 nights a week, a couple hours each night. We do public events, we do heroic strikes now that the DLC is out for the game. We do the Nightfall, mess around in Crucible a bit, and it's lots of fun playing with friends. And that's basically what redeems the game for me personally. So I enjoy it a lot still, but I know that there have been tons of problems, like the bright engram problem, charging money for silver to get those. It's cosmetic only, but cosmetic only is still irritating. It's still stupid that you have to pay for it and basically gamble on what you're going to get if you want to collect everything. I also think that the XP throttling was stupid, accidentally locking content out if you didn't buy the Curse of Osiris DLC. That's bogus too. I see that this game has problems. I see that this business model is not okay, but I personally still find some enjoyment of the game. Sounds hypocritical, but what are you going to do? I'd say if you haven't bought it yet, don't give them money. If you're not getting the items that you want out of your bright engrams, don't pay money for more. Not worth it. Stop playing the game if you don't like it. I'll keep playing it until there's nobody left, and then I guess I'll learn my lesson. Bungie will learn their lesson. The award for most tonally inconsistent game of the year goes to Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. I really wanted to love this game. I've been playing Wolfenstein since Wolfenstein 3D since I was a wee child. I really enjoyed the New Order and the Old Blood. Was really looking forward to this one, and I still enjoyed it, but there are a lot of problems with the narrative, with the characters, with the tone. You have some really crazy, wild, psychedelic, strange stuff going on in an otherwise serious game about Nazis and oppression and this sort of thing. And it just doesn't line up. And you have comic relief characters that go way, way too far. Toilet jokes in my Wolfenstein game, it just doesn't work. The cutscenes, while well done, are far too long. There are far too many of them. What really doesn't work in this game's favor with those cutscenes is how they're spaced out too with gameplay. It's always awkward, and it's inconsistent as far as pacing goes. It's inconsistent as far as the tone and what they're trying to accomplish with the narrative. It just doesn't quite work, but the game is a lot of fun regardless. But it just wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. It didn't live up to my expectations fully. And I might do a review about this game to go a bit more in depth with this, although a lot of people have already done that, talking about the narrative and the story of this game, kind of clashing with the gameplay, just clashing with the subject matter in general. The game that I probably enjoyed more than anyone else in the world did is Mass Effect Andromeda. Yeah, I actually like this game. Now, all the problems that have been pointed out with this to the point of becoming memes are true to an extent. The facial animations, yes, were bad. Lots of glitches that are bad. Lots of writing as far as the main story, side quests, and just characters and their development can range from mediocre into bad as well. But it's not nearly as bad as a lot of people made it out to be in the story department. It's not great, and I realize that not great isn't good enough for a lot of people when it comes to Mass Effect. I actually think it's a real shame that the dev team got dissolved after this whole fiasco with the game, and that there won't be any more support and no DLC for it. I was actually looking forward to a few loose ends being tied up, believe it or not. While it's true that the menus are ugly and an absolute mess to navigate, and all of the aforementioned graphical problems and narrative problems in the game, I think the gameplay is actually pretty much awesome. The combat is the best that it's been in any Mass Effect game. I really enjoy all of the different hub worlds. They could have been a bit better designed, but I enjoy the hubs. It's a lot better than the original idea for the game, where we were going to get this sort of No Man's Sky type exploration thing. Sounds great in theory, but we know now, right, there's no way in hell it would have worked out. So I think they did the best that they could have with an awful situation. And while the launch of the game was rocky to the point of being hilarious to a lot of people, the actual game, there's something solid in there. Again, despite all the horrific blemishes, if you can look past that. I managed to. Maybe I'm a fanboy, maybe I'm too forgiving, and since it's so cheap now, I think you should check it out if you had given it a pass before. Alright, I'm going to give the award for big name racing game that did not have loot boxes to Gran Turismo Sport. I just recently got this game, so I haven't delved into it too far, but it basically has everything that you would want in a Gran Turismo game, or in a racing sim in general. I know they did take out some of the more in-depth customization of your vehicle, right, when it comes to buying parts and applying those parts to your vehicle. It's more of you just pay points to upgrade. It's a bit more streamlined, but I think it still works. Driving mechanics are fantastic. The car selection's pretty decent. Track selection's pretty decent. You know, you're not going to have the whole Forza 500 cars or whatever it is, but you also aren't going to have loot boxes with modifiers that make the game more playable, or horrific, stupid cosmetic items that you're not even really going to see and could not possibly care about. You're just getting a really fun racing simulator. You can make it as hardcore sim as you want. You can make it basically an arcade racer. Tons of options. I would say the menu is not as intuitive as it could be. It looks kind of nice, though I had some problems navigating, kind of finding things I wanted to find. That might just be me being stupid, or just having only started the game now. I haven't gotten super familiar with it. But it's a really good racing game from what I've seen so far. You won't have to buy loot boxes. You don't have to use speed cards to upgrade your vehicle. You just get in the car and your race. And that's all I really want. Best open world game with a map, with things on the map that you can go to these things on the map and do the things and check off a list of things that you did in the game, so that at the end finally you have the whole map filled out with all the things that you went and checked off and did. Goes to these 3 games here that are basically all the same thing, just like every other open world game that I've ever played. This one has guns. This one has robots. This one has pyramids and crocodiles. This one's the prettiest one, so I guess it wins. In all seriousness though, Horizon Zero Dawn is an excellent game. I see why it is at the top of a lot of people's Game of the Year lists. I see why it's such a popular game. It makes me feel like it was worth buying my PS4 Pro and being able to play this on a 4K TV. It looks absolutely beautiful. The gameplay, while I feel like I've done this all before a billion times in other games, it does all of these things very well. I'm not the kind of person who believes that a game needs to be super innovative to be excellent. I think if it follows an archetype and it does it well, then it can be an excellent game, and Horizon Zero Dawn does everything that it does very well, in my opinion, despite it kind of following a formula I've seen before so many times, even a few more times this year. Speaking of that formula, the other games I mentioned, Ghost Recon Wildlands, I was pretty skeptical about this game to begin with, but I played the beta, had a lot of fun, said what the heck, I'll pick it up, and I played through the whole thing. Did it all. Again, it's nothing you haven't seen before. It's nothing like Ghost Recon, like the classic games in the series, but hey, it took that archetype and it did it well. Same with Assassin's Creed Origins. I am not a fan of Assassin's Creed, of that series of games. I enjoyed the first 2 games to some extent. I had fun with them. I never finished them though, because I found them very repetitive, and I never played any other ones in the series. Then this one comes out and my friends are all telling me, hey man, this is a really good game, you should check it out. And I'm saying, I don't like Assassin's Creed. I don't like the sort of formula they've been going with for years and years and years now. Everyone's telling me, no man, it's different. Check it out, try it, you'll like it. They were right. I was wrong. It's a really fun game. It doesn't do anything new per se. New in the Assassin's Creed games, yes, but new for gaming, no, but it does it all fairly well. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm glad I picked it up. I played this game here as well. It's called Slime Rancher. You ranch slime. It's cute. And my personal favorite game of this year is Prey. Yeah, get mad. I realize that it isn't the Prey 2 that a lot of people wanted, but hey, sorry. It's still a fun game. And while Prey 2 looked like it was going to be awesome, I think this game is pretty awesome. Definitely not the same kind of thing. Definitely don't know why this project ended up getting that IP and getting that name Prey. I think that was a really stupid move. I think it made a lot of people angry. I think it really hurt the sales of the game because people weren't sure what it is. Is it a sequel to Prey? Is it a reboot of Prey? Is it a completely different IP that is also called Prey? Because it's coming from Bethesda, which had released the previous Prey, that caused a lot of confusion, and it basically ended up being a reboot of Prey while being completely nothing to do with the first game. But this Prey 2017, I thought it was an excellent game. I realized that it is basically System Shock 2, except not original, because System Shock 2 was done so many years ago and was basically perfect. I think Prey 2017 takes what System Shock 2 did and does it very, very well. Again, it's another game that takes an archetype that's been done before, doesn't change a lot, but it does it very well, and I enjoy it. If you're into the immersive sim genre, if you're into first-person shooters with a little bit extra, if you're into sort of the RPG light games like BioShock, etc., I think you'll really enjoy this game. I know I did. I think it's better than the BioShock series. I think it's better than the Dishonored series, also by Arcane Studios. I think it's the best thing that that studio has done. No, I don't think it lives up to System Shock 2, or even maybe the original System Shock. Certainly not up to other games previous that have been more influential to this game and others. No, it does not quite live up to those. No, it is not pushing the envelope like those games. But again, it does what those games did, and it does it quite well. I really like the environment. I like the attention to detail. I like the enemies. I think they're interesting. The mimics are fantastic. I like the other enemies with all their different abilities, their different strengths, their different weaknesses. I like all the different ways that you can approach situations. The emergent gameplay that comes out in this game I think is fantastic. So some people may say that this game is a ripoff or a pale imitation, but to me it's an homage, and it is a very well done homage. But hey, feel free to tell me that I'm totally wrong. I don't mind. Leave a comment down below. I do this all for you guys, my 3 subscribers who probably forgot they subscribed to this channel. But thanks anyways. I hope you enjoy listening to me ramble about these games. Feel free to comment if you want. Thanks a lot. See you later.